I'm going to go through Boss Rush and Flutter Bombs and give some pointers of what you can and can't do to get through this, because this took me a long time to get through. A couple other videos online just show people going through them, not really explaining what's going on, because there's a lot of little nuances that you got to know from each of the bosses. So I hope this helps, because it took me a long time. I'm going to select Opie, or Wagtail. Yeah, Wagtail. The guy who shoots poison. It's longer over time. Damage. This guy, you're going to... He shoots at his tongue. That's really the biggest thing you got to worry about. And then he shoots at these webs. And you don't want to get near those webs, because if you go near them, try to get close to him to drop your poison, he'll hit you with his tongue. And although you're in the first level, you don't. If you lose life around here, it's not a big deal. But if you can get through them without getting hit, better. So I'm just sitting around here shooting, not really doing anything. The fish come out. They're not really a big deal. You just stay away from them. Yeah, here I got greedy. Yeah, and that's what he does. If you go near the webs, he'll hit you with the tongue. So just stay away with them when the webs are out, and then when they go away, you just watch him for him to open his mouth and then just strafe left or right, and he'll generally miss you. But I got hit there because yeah, I got impatient. I was impatient. This guy here, yeah, you're just the left and right where he shoots out those arrows. That's really all you have to watch for this guy. But I think I got really sloppy. I get really sloppy with this one for, yeah, run into that thing. But generally, if you just go from back and forth, avoid the arrows, which I'm not doing a good job here doing, you should get him through him. He's relatively easy compared to most bosses that's on there. But again, this is the first round, so you shouldn't have to worry about losing too much life, because you can recoup it later on in one of the levels. Him, you want to, yeah, you just drop in some bombs. The two little, yeah, those things there, they come out, little beetles come out. They're not really a big deal. You just don't stay still, because they shoot you with lasers. But if you kill those, they give you a little bit of life back. Not a lot, but enough. But it's not worth trying to get life back at this point. I don't think he did it here in this round, but he normally sticks two of his legs back up on the rods in the back, at which point he sucks you into the center, and he'll do damage to you that way. But this round, he doesn't do it. And that's the thing with a lot of these bosses, is that they don't do the same moves every time, which can make it easier and way harder. This guy here, yeah, he goes up with his fists and drops on these. You want to get behind them. It's kind of hard to judge where you have to get behind them, because I died tons of times doing this. This here web thing, he traps you with this, but you want to make sure you have enough energy that when he does do this, you shoot around. Because what he does when after that is he takes two of his front arms, that swipe thing, and if you're stuck because you weren't able to shoot the web, he gets you every time. But yeah, you just want to hide behind these. I think the poison kills him here. Yeah, see, so I don't know how I got frozen there. I was sticking out behind the thing, but normally when you're frozen like that, it explodes and it kills you. So I got lucky there. And I have very little life left, so I'm not doing too well. But it's okay if I can survive. Alright, so this guy, I'm just going to strafe all the way around from left to right. He don't normally start with these butterfly things, which was odd. They just get in the way. You don't want to go nowhere near them because they'll kill you. He spits out these white things, and these make honeycombs, and you want to drop your poison on the honeycombs because to destroy those, because they take all of your nectar. You see I'm drained of nectar here now. And I'm like, oh crap, what do I do? And I'm trying to avoid these things, but you can actually bang into those. You can hit those, and they won't hurt you. It's when they sting you that's the problem. And they kind of do an animation where they hit you, and then they'll sting you. But if you can keep moving, they aren't a problem. And I think I get a little bit of life back from here. But generally, if you just strafe back and forth, left to right, dropping the poison, you can get him pretty good. But he threw out those little fluttery flowers right away, which he doesn't normally do. This guy here, super easy. I used to use him to get back my life, but it was so minuscule. So he would call it little groups of flies and also drop. So those flies here, and by killing those, they give you a little bit of life back. But so minuscule, it's not even worth it. Like, it takes you, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, I don't really know, to fill back your life up this way. When he gets half through his health, he goes into a cocoon thing, but you just keep dropping your poison on him, and you can kill him that way. He also drops bugs down from the sky, but again, you can just drop your poison around the ground, you kill all them before they get the bugs. He's relatively easy, but I used to use him to get my life back. But this guy here is where, if you made it to this point, you don't have to worry because you can refill your life totally from this guy here. So you don't want to shoot him. You just want to wait for him to release the 3 beetles that he has in his backside. And then you just don't drop any bombs because you don't want to do any damage to him. You just want to keep him alive and just shoot the beetles. And the beetles will give you a decent amount of life back. This is faster than if you did the other guy and shot all the beetles and all the flies. If you want to jump ahead a couple minutes, you can skip this part as I refill my meter. So here I got full life, and before he turns around, I'm going to start dropping poison on him. And this here guy comes out, and you don't want to get too close to him. You want to stay in the area where I'm at right now, because he'll do a sharp lunge at you, and he can hit you and one-shot you. In fact, most things in this level can one-shot you. Yeah, right there, that thing when he lunges at you. The other things you're going to avoid here is you want to stay on top of the rocks. You don't want to go moving over the water because those worms will pop up and they will one-shot you. The worm up in the top right corner, where I'm currently at now, when he comes up with his rock in his mouth, you're safe until he'll bend over, and you'll see he'll squat over. You're fine there. It's when he lifts back up and throws it, but he throws it over you. So the only one you have to worry about is the one on the left. He throws his rock all the way across the screen. And if you just avoid that, you're fine. This guy here is fairly easy too. He calls his friend either on the left or right side, and you don't know which one it is. But when he does, I drop some. You see the pink? I just drop some of the poison to hit him to try to take him out. He just makes it harder. It's not really hard anyways, but having him shooting those things across the screen definitely doesn't make it easier, especially when you want to save your life here. You don't want to get hit here. You want as much life as you can going into these last three, because there's not much left to recoup. Whatever you have going into next level, yeah, it's going to be hard to get your life back. There's just too much to dodge. This guy here took me forever. There's no real patterns to everybody, but I generally stay right in front of his face and just drop it. It's easier to avoid the fireballs that he calls out, so you just fall back and move to the left or the right, depending on whatever direction you want to you're comfortable with. Okay, fall back, and really it's only the first one you avoid, and then the second one that comes behind it. Fall back, move to the left. He'll call it fire. This is probably, I mean, they're easy enough to avoid because they're slow, but what makes it hard is that sometimes he'll call the fireballs out when those are going as well, and that's when it can get difficult. Fortunately for me, he does not call it the fireballs while those things are going, and I only have to deal with him. He also calls out little bugs that go into the ground, and if you let them go into the ground, they make beetles, and if you kill them you get a little bit of life back, but it's not something that I would count on. This guy's ridiculously hard. Luck. And the same with him. I try to stay in front of his face and drop it. He does different patterns all the time. Sometimes you'll throw mushrooms, those two mushrooms on the side, which you go try to dodge by strafing. But this is the hardest thing that he does right here, is that he'll throw these bubbles out, and you're trying to dodge the bubbles. And then sometimes when he does that, he'll throw the mushrooms at you, or he'll use his eyebrows to toss out. I think he does it here. Yeah. So trying to dodge all those little bubbles, plus the spores that he throws at you. It's ridiculous. And honestly, it's just luck that you don't get hit. At this point, I'm like, stop throwing out these damn bubbles. I'd rather he just toss the mushrooms, because sometimes he'll get him and all he tosses you is those two mushrooms. And those two big mushrooms are easier to dodge than what he's currently doing right here. But take your time, watch the bubbles. It gets confusing trying to figure out what's his bubbles, and because you're throwing out poison, that also creates bubbles. So you're like, which bubbles are his, which are mine? I've died countless times with this guy. He's the hardest one out of all of them that you'll have to do. This guy's fairly easy. I only made it twice to him, but you don't want to get too close to him. When he throws his wave, you want to go to the opposite side of which he does, because by the time he gets the wave gets all the way around, you're going to be dead. He does that spin, rocks pop up. They don't hurt you. Yeah, the ninja stars are the only thing that you really have to avoid. And when you see him dig into the ground, you want to start moving, and you can generally avoid those pretty easily. And this one here, the same thing. You just don't want to be in front of them. Those little things on the ground, drop a bomb on those, because you don't want those alive, because they'll shoot up at you. And they'll one-shot you. In fact, everything here can one-shot you. But you don't want to get caught. So you just want to keep strafing. You don't want to go through those... yeah, see? Those things there. Yeah, and there we go. We did it. And that took me hours to do. I don't know what the guides are saying online about this is easy. That was difficult. Alright, I hope this helps. Good luck.